We were playing last year with a group of autistic children, and one of the kids, a little boy of about 10, halfway through the second day of playing with him, asked us, "Is this yoga?" And people laughed because it was quite a cute, sweet thing to say. And I said, "Well, yeah, sort of. It is yoga. Sort of." So then we carried on playing. He was learning the sword fighting game where he's got a big swing of his body and then he can duck down and pop up and go, "Doo." And he finished that game and he said, "Oh, it's yoga with feeling." And he nailed it. It is like yoga with feeling. Autistic individuals struggle with time and space. It's as if the next moment in their lives is full of fear and anxiety and dread. So much so that living with autism can feel like an extended panic attack where the next moment of your life is never going to end. So we make our heartbeat circles to calm the inner nerves of somebody on the autism spectrum. But it isn't just time that conspires against the autistic individual, it's space as well. A long time ago, about 10 years ago, I was working with a group of children and we were playing what I call a trance game. It's an old drama game created by Augusta Boal that I've adapted for people with autism. You put your hand here, they look into your hand, have to keep the same distance between face and hand. So if you move your hand like this, they follow with their face. You can move your hand forward, they will follow, they will even walk forward. And if you move your hand this way, they should walk back. So I played this game with a young guy of about 13, and he would follow my hand like this, and he would happily walk forward. But when I pushed my hand towards him, he would stop, he would freeze, and my hand would just come banging into his face. We played for maybe a month, and on the last day of the project, he said, "Okay, stop, everybody, stop. I know what you want me to do. I know that I'm meant to walk backwards as your hand comes towards me, but I can't do it because I can't step behind me because I don't know what's behind me and I don't like it. But I want to try. So please, can you give me a bit more time to do this?" So I said, of course. He'd never articulated this before. Everyone else sat down. And he said, "Okay, let's have a go, let's have a go." So I started with my hand to very, very slowly just start to come towards him. And he lifted his foot. And he said, "Okay, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it." And he started crying and he was sweating. And I just had my hand coming very, very slowly toward him. And the foot lifted up off the ground. And he was going, "I'm going to do it, I'm 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 going to do it." And everybody else was just staring and waiting. It took him 12 minutes, I checked on the clock, 12 minutes to lift his foot and place it behind him. And all that time he was saying, "I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it." He finally put his foot behind him and he was, yes, like he'd run a marathon. Everybody was in tears because clearly he'd broken through a fear. I have no idea if his teachers or his parents ever realised what he had just done. I have actually no idea if his teachers ever told his parents. But I witnessed something quite incredible with that teenager taking his step backwards. And I understood for the very first time that it wasn't just time that conspires against the autistic world, it's also space. So time and space are conspiring against somebody with autism, forcing them to lock down because taking the next breath, taking the next step is simply too much. And consequently, strategies get made. And most people with autism will self-soothe in some way to deal with the panic. So they will tip forwards and backwards, or they will stim, or they will jump, or they will spin. And we, with our games, with our yoga that has feelings in it, we allow this self-soothing. So we allow the tipping to go further. We allow the jumping to go higher. We encourage the spinning to spin more. But we're actively engaged in the tipping, the jumping and the spinning and the rocking with the autistic individual so that they can fall further into their self-soothing, but they have an architecture of human beings around them, a firm, loving support and a reason to do it. And these reasons, they're embodied in the games of Shakespeare that we play. Shakespeare explores what it feels like to be alive, moment by moment. And so we take these tiny moments of making eye contact, of finding that you really like somebody and then you've got to look away, and then you really like them and then you've got to look away. These small moments of human contact, and we create moments of feeling that you are bursting with life for the autistic individuals to explore with us. So we have this combination of what it feels like to have the emotions, but what it feels like in the body as well. A lot of people with autism never put their heels on the ground. They're on their tiptoes, like meerkats, ready for fear, ready for flight. So with our tipping game, we purposefully put our hands on the arch of their foot and let them feel the soles of their feet to the ground, so that sometimes for the first time with the small children, they know where they are. And then once you do that, they will happily rock backwards and forwards in our arms. And then some kind of landing happens in the body and the mind. So it's a choreography of emotion. And we take it from the words that Shakespeare wrote. But in the games, the spoken word is the last thing that's important. We always add in Shakespeare's language, a little bit of Shakespeare's language for each game, but it's the last thing that we require or ask the children to do. The key thing that we're asking from them, or suggesting that might be nice, is to participate in a conversation of the body and a conversation of the deeper soul. Lumen's turn. Hello. 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 Auntie. Hello. Auntie. Hello. Auntie. Hello. Auntie. Hello. Auntie. Hello.
Let's go to Echo.
Yes, let's go me. Doi-oi-oi-oi. Can I have a go? Doi-oi-oi-oi.
E-O.
Oh, I'm running away.
Running away. One more, one more.
Oh,
Bravo, Mark.
Yes. Here we go again. Flying and reaching. Yes. Yes. Reaching heaven.